Hi, Izzy. One thing that we went over last night in gym, and I'm going to cover this again on Friday, but I just kind of wanted to go over it with you, specifically because of the goal that happened in the Roma game. And of course, beforehand, in the Milton game, we conceded off the corner. So we're trying to work on fixing that. So, what I want you to understand is this: fullback, fullback, center back, they're all responsible for inside the 6 yard box. Okay. And when they are in there, they're playing zonal. Okay. And zonal means that they're just covering that space. All right. They're not directly covering a player. So, for example, the fullback is on the post. This one's on the post. One of the center backs would actually be back in here. Okay. Near where the keeper is, dealing with a player who's maybe getting the keeper's way, or just being there in position to help the keeper. Okay. To clear it out if it does come in. The other center back, I kind of want focusing on the top of the 6 yard box and covering that space. Again, not man marking, okay, not man to man. All of these players out here, so left mid, right forward, left forward, and sometimes the center forward when needed, are responsible for man marking. So if you're one of these positions, you need to find a player to cover, okay? There should be no players uncovered in this box whatsoever. If you're covering space that is zonal, I'm not asking you to do that. You need to, through these players, cover a player. Okay. Now, we've got five in here. Let's say there's a couple in here, and there's only maybe three or four in this area. And those three or four are man marked, right? What you can do then is cover what is the most vulnerable space, which is the middle, okay? Because what we're worried about is a ball going like this and into this space here, right? Or out into here, all right? So let's focus on in between the six, covering and guarding this space. I'm not worried about it here. I'm not worried about out here, okay? If the ball's short, we can shift to it. If the ball's long, we can shift to it as well. Okay. All right. So again, have that visual in your head. I'll go over this on Friday. I'm going to go over this with everybody before the game as well to make sure that everybody remembers. Okay. So that's positioning on corner and responsibilities. So responsibility, man marking in this area. So anywhere inside the 18, inside the six, these players here are responsible for marking a certain section, zone in there. Okay. All right. So let's just go back to the Milton game. All right. So I will, this is actually their first goal, but I'm going to go to the corner first here. Okay. Let me just find their corner. All right. So what I want you to look at here, and I'm going to do a bit of a close up. I'm not going to play the sound. So now I'm on the free camera mode. Okay. So this is something that Maya and I noticed. Okay. And we're just not sure why this is happening. Okay. So notice this player here. So this is Sam. My question to Sam was, why is she there? Right now, again, I have fixed what I want the defense to do. Right, they're covering post, middle, post. Okay, but again, what purpose does she serve there? She's not marking anybody. Okay, the other issue being, okay, so look, there's nobody there. Okay, if the ball was to go short, even if she was on the post, she'd be able to get to it. Okay, so there's no players in this area. Standing here is no good, is pointless. All right. So she should be in this area, okay, because she's a fullback covering the post. However, this is a mid in this spot here. I'm going to say, why are you there? You should be in here covering this important space here or marking a player if needed. Okay. So have that visual in your head. Unfortunately, on this one, so I am going to play it. So I want you to watch now. Let's go back. So this girl here. So Amika's not really paying attention, right? So Mika's there, but she's not actually marking. It's possible. So I'm looking at Evelyn, right? So Evelyn, does she have this player? Doesn't look like she's really, no. So she's, and why are we're just walking towards the goal, right? So those two there, I'm just going, what are you doing? They needed to be man marking. And that's the difference between us uh, getting it out and getting scored on. Okay, so that's kind of a laziness situation there. Okay, so I'm going to skip ahead to the Roma corner. Now I want you to look at this again. Now remember, the footage in this is not as good because we had video issues. Okay, actually, yeah. So this is the player that will score the goal. So one thing that I want you to notice, I'm just back here. Pause everything. This is the player that's going to score the goal. Okay. So my question is this. So here's my defense. Okay. I don't know why Scarlett is there because she should actually be at the top there. Right. I don't know why Lauren is here. She should be inside this box. Okay. So I don't understand that. So they didn't follow um, what needed to be done. That will get corrected. All right. The other thing here is this. So watch. So this is you there. Just watch what you do here. So you've recognized this player, sorry, the referee's there, is open. But what I'll say is, and this is the same situation with Sam and the Milton thing, why are you there? Right? You're not serving any purpose. There's no player, as we can see, that's just a corner kick taker. There's no purpose to playing right there. Okay. In certain scenarios, maybe some coaches will ask for a player to stand there. I know sometimes Frank has his team do that. We don't need to do that. That's not how we are going to design our corners. Okay, our corner kick defending. All right. So really, this should have been you here, and this is not me saying, "Hey, it's your fault. There's a goal," because I'm wondering what all these other girls are doing. Right. I look here, so clearly this is somebody. Play a little bit. So somebody's marking this player. Somebody's marking this player. Somebody's kind of marking this player. This player has gone to the far person there, which is fine, right? But this is my problem, right? I needed a player here, right? And it was good that you pointed it out. However, for whatever reason, nobody seemed to listen. And then we have, inevitably, yeah. So the player that was totally unmarked was free to move around and do what she pleased. Easy goal. Okay. So that can't happen. So again, going back to exit out of this, pause this here. Going back to the corner, defending. All right. So again, you would be responsible for covering anybody who comes into here. Left forward can help. Everybody needs to be better at their marking and recognition of that. Okay. No player should ever be standing outside. So here's the 6-yard box line right there. Okay. Nobody should be standing out here by themselves anywhere when there's no player short or anything like that. There's no purpose to it. Okay. So mark players. If there's not enough players to mark in here, stay in this area. Okay. Stay in this area or help cover the space in the box, whatever you need to do. Okay. All right. So that is our corner kick situation. Now, so let's go back to the Milton game and we're going to go to, why this is done something here. Sorry, just going to fix this. Better than that. All right. So let's go to the first goal. Okay. Now we kind of touched on this, I think, last week in the meeting. Okay, so let's just go back, pause that here. Let's slow it down a little bit. So again, I want you to watch yourself here. So Nicole needs to drop off, right? So she's dropping off. So here's the issue, right? So, and I think I talked to you and Amika about this, is you've gone in. So essentially the most important thing is this space right here behind in our zone that we're defending. I don't want you or whoever the other mid is, if it's Ava, whoever, Violet, okay, getting dragged into this space. That was the player that you should have stayed with, okay? And Cora was going in for that ball, right? So the two players did not need to be there, okay? So try to avoid that. All right, now let's look and see. Okay, so again, right here, once this ball, okay, so this ball's about to be played inside, you should be going inside. Okay, there's nobody on the wing. You reacted too late, and then you jumped in, and then it's now this player has time to think, right? They had time to think. They decided to send a cross in the middle. Again, we know what happened here. Unfortunately, now we have the ball and down. Okay, so just to go over that one more time with you. Don't get sucked in this way. Okay, this space here, any players in this area here is more important. Stay with this player. Don't point and say somebody else cover her, because what happens there, if Nicole has to cover that player, now she's stepping up, which I don't want her to do in this situation. I need her to stay back. So you need to drop back. You've got Cora there, right? So Cora's dealing with this situation. Okay. We're not worried about them passing the ball back in here. Need to be here, need to be here, need to be here. Too late. Yeah, and the jumping in, right? So you got to avoid that, right? That is, I think, one of the things that's hurting you the most right now is when you jump in, because you're using a lot of your energy up to do that. Okay. And of course, every time you jump in and you don't get the ball, right? Not only is it meaning that that player now has got a bit more freedom because you've kind of basically taken yourself out of the play. They've got freedom, they've got space, they've got time to think. Okay. And I imagine, because I know anytime I tried to make a tackle, if I didn't get it, you kind of feel discouraged. So lessen the odds there. In that situation, I would have said, let's go back, is your main objective here. Okay, so you should have been going inside, but let's say, okay, you just recognized it now. Your main objective should have been, how can I stop this girl from playing the ball, right? Not, I have to win it. Okay, so it needs to be, how can I stop this girl from playing the ball into a dangerous area? Not need to win the ball first. She had clear control of the ball, right? If the ball is clearly controlled on her feet, the worst thing you can do is do a jumping. Okay, so try to remember that. All right, now let's take a look again. We'll go back to the Roma game. And we'll go to the first goal. Just gotta find it here. Okay, so that's his first goal. Sorry, need the second goal. Okay, so second goal. Again, footage is not as great. All right, so right here, immediately this needs to be dropped back. Okay, needs to be dropped back into this space because, especially with Roma, they want to play it out to the wing. So again, you waited to react, right? And of course, you've missed the ball, right? And then again, defensive mistakes. I needed Scarlett to be more physical there, and she wasn't. Okay. Um, let me just go back to the whole start of it. Again, it's react, right? We don't have possession of the ball. It needs to be, you need to be there, right? Now instead it ends up being you just running in. Of course, you're basically taking yourself out of the play, way behind now, and then nothing you can really do to help. Okay. So again, recognizing that Okay, so we don't have possession. Now what I'm worried about is this ball getting played out to the wing. The first thing you should be doing is running there. Instead, you just kind of stayed in that space inside. Okay, there was nobody there at all to worry about. Okay, we're not worried if in the back they want to try to play it in the middle because that's dangerous, right? They want to go to the outside. All teams want to go to the outside first and foremost. Okay, because that's the less dangerous option, right? There are teams, Frank's team, for example, that will sometimes play through into the middle for the first touch because, again, their girls are all pretty set with doing that method, right? Personally, I'm not a big risk taker in that way, and there's no sense doing that. Okay, so I want you to think about that, recognizing the potential of where the ball can go. Immediately, it should be okay. She's going to want to play it out. And yeah, you just missed the ball there. Okay, that's okay. That I know. Obviously, you tried to recover. Not much you can do about that. Okay, so the Red Academy. Let's see if I can find. So if you'll recall, obviously in the first few minutes, okay, obviously Maya was talking to you guys. Okay, one of the biggest issues that we're having, right, and I think Amika really struggles with this as well. This is why we're thinking we're going to try to put maybe Cora on your side a bit more, but um, again, you guys got to get better at it, and you got to get more used to it. Is you guys play too close together? Okay. Um, in this situation here, obviously, it is just a kind of ball that goes here. So I think you're running into support, which is good. See, and now Amika needs to move. Now, unfortunately, what is Amika doing? She's basically putting herself off offside position there. She's not thinking. Right? So she needs to get better at adjusting herself. Okay. I just want you to look again how tight we are in this space because if that ball gets played out here, we're in a bit of trouble, right? We're counting on Cassie, who's got a big space to deal with, to have to cover that area. Okay. So again, we lose possession. Just start dropping off a bit more than you usually do. Okay. That's going to help you out big time. It's going to save you a lot of running. Just going to skip ahead here. Trying to see if I can find one of the moments. So there again, it's we're coming into each other. You guys are so tight together there, and yeah, again, Amika needs to be talking to you as well. Which again, I didn't really see much communication, so I need the two of you to start getting on the same page. I might start putting you and her in groups together, just to kind of get more comfortable with each other and talking and playing with each other. Okay. Because yeah, this was there was a lot of trouble, right? Even here, it's like again, obviously, I know there was a phantom call here, all right, but main point here is again, don't be too close to your forward, especially when we lose possession. Don't run into the play, all right? Somebody else's job there. Stay back in your space, all right? I'm trying to remember now. I think there was a point in the summer where you were really starting to understand that what your role is and how you should play positionally to not waste so much energy, right? And I know this is a bit of a different formation, but that's what we need to fix, right? Fix your positioning where you are when we have possession, when we don't have possession. Okay, and let's talk about it a little bit more over the next little while. Okay, in these games, obviously Cherry Beach is going to be extremely important that you're aware of your surroundings. Okay. All right. So I think that's it for now. I just wanted to cover those things with you. Um, sorry, my phone is going off here. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, you can message me on TeamSnap there, or you can just talk to me on Saturday before the game. And if there's anything you want covered off, or you just want me to be a little bit more specific with something, I can do that for you. Okay. Anyways, have yourself a really good night, and we will see you on Zoom on Friday. Okay. And just send me a message on Teams Snap. Let me know that you watched the video. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.